this second week of Advent, we hear some very familiar words. Prepare the way of the Lord. And those are exactly the words we hear in today's gospel. They are the words of John the Baptist, who was a contemporary of Jesus, and he's speaking just before Jesus will begin his public ministry. There are a couple of things that John says that I think we should particularly pay attention to. One is he talks about the people repenting and compares them to a tree that does not bear good fruit, and it's taken down, its branches are tossed away. And then he says, there is one coming who is mightier than I. And so with that as our background, let's turn to the first reading for today, which is from the prophet Isaiah. And in chapter 11 of the book of the prophet Isaiah, we're going to hear reference to this. This, of course, is called a Jesse tree. And it really has ornaments that pave the way for the coming of Jesus. We have these symbols here of great people, great events from the Old Testament that prepared the way for the coming of Jesus. Beginning with the hand, which represents the hand of God at the beginning of creation. And then we have symbols of other people, like Joseph in his coat of many colors, Moses, who gave the people the Ten Commandments, David, the greatest king. The heart representing the prophet Jeremiah, who says God will give the people a new heart. The hammer representing Joseph, the carpenter, the rose representing Mary, and then, of course, the top, the star, representing Jesus. Well, how did this Jesse tree come about? What does it say about Jesus? I would like to turn to the very first sentence of today's first reading, which reads, "On that day a shoot shall sprout from the stump of Jesse, and from his roots a bud shall blossom." Who is Jesse? Jesse was the father of King David, and he lived in the town of Bethlehem. Bethlehem, of course, means city of bread. A promise was made to his son David that David would have a dynasty, that after he had died, there would come about a new king somewhere along the line, and a new kingdom that would never die out. However, by the time we get to the prophet Isaiah, well, it's sort of like this, and I'm going to cover up the top. If you look below my fingers, there's a tree stump. That's what had happened to the people. The kingdom got divided into two. There were kings in the north, kings in the south, and I think only 4 kings in the south were worth anything. And so by the time we get to the prophet Isaiah, all you have left of the people is a tree stump. But Isaiah says, a bud shall blossom. You know how it is when you have a tree stump and there's a shoot that comes forth from it, and pretty soon you could have a big tree. And so what's the shoot? The shoot, of course, refers to Jesus. And so as we look again at the Jesse tree, all of these people along the way prepared for that shoot that would sprout from the stump. And we ask, what does that mean to us today? Are we not ornaments that could be put on another tree as we prepare the world for the coming of Jesus today? How will we do that? That's the question we need to ask ourselves as we go through this season of Advent. For our call, like the call of all those people, is to bear fruit. This is what the new evangelization is